Have you ever experienced a déjà vu so precise it made your chest tighten? Like you had already lived this exact second before, down to the words on the screen and the thought forming in your mind? Have you noticed impossible synchronicities stacking too perfectly to ignore? Numbers repeating across days, conversations answering questions you never spoke, information finding you before you went looking for it. Have you felt reality glitch, time stretching or snapping forward, as if the world hesitated for a fraction of a second and then corrected itself? If you've experienced any of that, listen carefully. You're not crazy, you're not broken, and you're not overthinking. You're perceiving something most people never consciously register, because there's a threshold perception crosses where reality stops feeling solid and starts feeling responsive. Once that line is crossed, it doesn't reverse. Something changes, not loudly, quietly, subtly, but permanently. The world no longer feels like something happening to you. It feels like something reacting with you. You probably tried to rationalize it: stress, burnout, coincidence, an overactive subconscious mind. That's what we're trained to do when perception doesn't fit the accepted model. But deep down, you knew those explanations didn't fully land, because what you're experiencing doesn't feel random. It feels structured, patterned, almost intentional. Here's the part no one prepares you for. People who begin noticing these things don't feel isolated because they're antisocial or disconnected. They feel alone because they're operating on a different frequency, a different vibration. When quantum consciousness starts tuning into the deeper quantum field beneath everyday experience, surface-level conversations begin to feel hollow. Familiar routines lose weight. You notice pauses in awareness around you, not superiority. Misalignment. That loneliness isn't emotional, it's vibrational. And that's one of the earliest signs of a real spiritual awakening, grounded not in belief, but in physics. Mainstream science rarely frames it this way, not because the evidence is missing, but because the implications are destabilizing. In 1927, Werner Heisenberg introduced uncertainty into the foundation of reality itself. In 1935, Albert Einstein openly objected to quantum entanglement, calling it spooky action at a distance. In 1964, John Bell mathematically proved that local realism, the idea that reality exists independently of observation, cannot be true. And then came decades of observer effect experiments that confirmed something deeply uncomfortable. Reality behaves differently when it's observed, not metaphorically, literally. Particles don't decide what they are until measurement occurs, until perception enters the equation. That statement is verified, repeatable, and published, and quietly avoided. One peer-reviewed paper exploring consciousness and reality creation was rejected 14 times with the same note attached: too metaphysical, not incorrect, not flawed, just unacceptable. Because if consciousness participates in shaping reality, then the universe isn't passive, and neither are you. This is where things start to feel personal. If observation collapses probability into experience, then the life you're living right now is not accidental. It's one outcome selected from countless potentials, stabilized by patterns running beneath conscious awareness. Which means those glitches you've been noticing aren't errors, they're seams. Brief moments where the hidden reality underneath experience becomes visible. That's why it feels like it's happening to you. Most people never notice this consciously. But once your perception shifts, once awareness expands, reality begins responding differently. Time feels strange. Synchronicities intensify. Old belief systems quietly collapse, and life can start feeling off. Stay with me. This isn't for everyone. But if you're still here, it's because your consciousness already glitched the fabric of reality. And what comes next explains exactly why. If this stirred something familiar, I want you to do one thing thoughtfully. In the comments, describe the most inexplicable synchronicity you've experienced. What happened, when it happened, and why it stayed with you. I'm reading everyone, because patterns only become visible when conscious observers compare experiences. If this conversation feels worth continuing, a quiet like helps surface it to others who are searching for the same hidden reality. Not for attention, but for connection. And if something clicked internally while listening, subscribing isn't a channel action. It's an entry into a community of people operating on a different frequency. If something resonated in you, you belong here. Stay with me. What comes next will make that clearer. You felt it before the moment science struggles to explain. That pause where time seems to hesitate, where a conversation feels pre-written, where a choice appears delayed. Physics first documented this disturbance on April 23, 1961, when German physicist Klaus Janssen at the University of Tübingen fired single electrons through a double slit experiment, one particle at a time. When unobserved, each electron behaved like a wave, occupying multiple states inside the quantum field. The instant measurement occurred, the wave collapsed into a single outcome. Reality waited for perception. This wasn't philosophy. It was repeatable data. That discovery shattered the idea of an objective universe existing independently of consciousness. And this is where your experiences stop feeling random. Déjà vu may be awareness brushing against probabilities that almost collapsed. Synchronicities may be your subconscious mind sensing shifts in frequency before perception locks reality in place. When reality glitches, it isn't failing. It's updating faster than expectation. Quantum consciousness doesn't experience time linearly. It samples possibility. In 1982, Alain Aspect proved quantum entanglement violated local realism, confirming distance and separation are illusions. If space isn't fundamental, neither is time. Nobel Prize winner Eugene Wigner admitted consciousness must be fundamental to physics, not derived from matter. But this isn't taught in school because a population that understands reality creation through perception and energy becomes unpredictable. If you've experienced a moment where reality responded directly to your awareness, describe it precisely in the comments. Details matter here, and this is where it gets stranger. And here is where physics quietly crossed a line it never walked back from. On April 1, 1999, at the University of Vienna, physicist Anton Zeilinger conducted a quantum teleportation experiment that forced a confession from reality itself. Information about a particle's state was transferred instantly to another particle without anything traveling through space. Not energy, not matter. Information. The quantum field responded to correlation, not distance. This wasn't theory. It was measured, verified, and replicated. The implication shattered the mainstream model. Reality is not built from objects interacting locally, but from relationships responding to information. And your perception is information. When your awareness shifts, the field reorganizes. That's why synchronicities feel timed. Why déjà vu feels like memory, not confusion. Why you sense parallel outcomes that almost happened. Your subconscious mind is detecting probability before collapse. In quantum consciousness, perception precedes experience. In 2013, delayed choice experiments confirmed observation can determine outcomes retroactively, rewriting what already appeared complete. Time is not linear, it's responsive. Nobel Prize winner Max Planck stated plainly that consciousness is fundamental and matter is derivative. But this isn't taught in school because a population that understands vibration, frequency, and reality creation through awareness stops being predictable. If you've experienced a moment where reality shifted the instant you noticed it, describe exactly what happened in the comments. Specifics matter. Shared awareness strengthens the signal. And this is where everything changes. This is the phase almost no one talks about because it feels personal, isolating, and hard to explain without sounding unstable. On September 12, 2002, physicist Dean Radin published results from controlled experiments at the Institute of Noetic Sciences, showing that focused human attention measurably altered the output of quantum random number generators. Shielded systems, automated protocols, statistically significant deviation. Conscious intention influenced probability, not belief, not imagination. Measurable change in the quantum field. That result challenges the assumption that consciousness is passive. It suggests perception is an active variable, and this is where your symptoms stop feeling psychological. When your awareness shifts, the field responds differently. Energy reorganizes before your life does. That's why you feel exhausted without cause, disconnected in familiar places, strangely alert at night. Your subconscious mind is recalibrating frequency. Old patterns lose coherence. Conversations feel hollow. You sense something else running underneath reality. This isn't anxiety. It's interference between timelines collapsing at different rates. Synchronicities intensify because your perception is no longer locked to one predictable outcome. You're brushing against parallel probabilities before they dissolve. In quantum consciousness, awareness precedes stability. Nobel Prize winner Sir Roger Penrose later stated that consciousness may be non-computable, fundamental to the universe itself. But this isn't taught in school because systems rely on predictable observers. A mind that shifts frequency stops reinforcing the loop. If you've felt tired, displaced, or suddenly out of sync with your old life, describe the exact moment it began in the comments. Details matter. Shared patterns reveal structure, and it gets stranger. Because once you recognize the pattern, you realize this was never about information. It was about remembrance. Every experiment you heard, every contradiction between physics and common sense, was pointing to the same quiet truth. Quantum consciousness doesn't sit inside reality like a passenger. It moves through the quantum field as an active force. Observation, perception, attention. These aren't side effects. They're inputs. And that explains why nothing has felt stable lately. The disorientation, the sense that something fundamental shifted, isn't a flaw in you. It's a frequency change. When consciousness expansion begins, the subconscious mind recalibrates first. Your body notices before language does. That tightening in your chest, the heightened awareness, the feeling that the world looks the same but doesn't feel the same. That's not anxiety. That's recognition. Energy reorganizing around a different vibration. Here's the unsettling part most people never reach. If the observer effect collapses reality, then time isn't fixed, separation isn't fundamental, and death cannot mean what you were taught it means. You don't need the answer yet. Just notice how your system reacts to that idea. Recognition always arrives before explanation. This knowledge has never been fully erased, only fragmented, because awakened perception doesn't cooperate with control. A mind that understands reality creation stops waiting for permission. You didn't arrive here by accident. Alignment brought you here. Something inside you already crossed a line you can't step back over. You can't unsee this. Awakening isn't gaining a new ability. It's remembering an original capacity that was trained out of you. Reality has never been happening to you. It has always been responding through you, through where your attention rests, through the frequency you stabilize. That's why structures fell apart, not as punishment, as alignment. You can't carry an old life into a new coherence. And if you're honest, the collapse already started, didn't it? If this resonates in your body, not just your thoughts, anchor it. Comment, I am the observer, not as a phrase, but as an act. Spoken intention collapses probability. It strengthens the shared field here and draws others who are waking at the same time. You are not alone. Thousands are arriving at this threshold together, and this space is a meeting point. Sit with that before moving on. What happens next depends on a choice made in the next few seconds. Because the next video goes where this one can't yet. It explains why your life had to fall apart before this understanding arrived, why the collapse came first, and why it could not have happened any other way. If your chest feels tight right now, let yourself notice that. That sensation isn't fear, it's recognition. Something inside you just aligned with what it already knew, but had never been given language for. Subscribe, not because I asked you to, but because part of you already understands what's coming next. If this video found you, you're not outside the process looking in. You're already inside it. This is the part most people never hear explained. The moment where things stop feeling random and start revealing structure. And what comes next goes even deeper. The next video explores why your life fell apart right before you found this. Why the collapse wasn't punishment, but preparation. And why it couldn't have happened in any other order. That video completes what was unlocked here.